Asha wants you to have this again for helping out today. Thank you. I'm like, yeah, sure. Nothing else, but so I think that Tia sold up for cooking class with us when we get there. And then we're working on this dinner. We're going to do
I don't even like that. I've never had a remote.
You never had it?
No. It's like that's like a video we can how to do it.
No problem.
So the problem is this video doesn't come. I can try that. Good question. So I want to know when I play this video, the sound from the video doesn't come through the system. It just comes through this. Do you have any idea? Yeah. You never know how to do it. Okay. Just what if we turn the volume up? Turn the volume up. Maybe that might.
I got turned this volume up here. Nick, we'll be down a little bit to work with you on that. I'm gonna leave that here with you.
Yeah. Not all of my friends. Not like Slideshow view, you're trying to get it. So. Yeah, for, if the video doesn't, the sound isn't working, I'll just put it in my thing call. And then I heard the. Just while you're. Are you gonna be here?
Good afternoon. I haven't done this in like 10 years, so bear with me as we get this figured out. Can everybody hear me okay? Okay.
No, be a little louder.
No, you need to talk louder yet? Okay, because it's not picking up very well. Can we turn the volume up? Cheers, and we'll figure that out and we'll keep moving forward. All right. I would like to welcome all our Rotarians and guests in the room and on the Zoom. Got a few up there today. Thanks for joining us. Ashok had, he thought he was getting on a plane tonight at 7 o'clock, but it was really this morning at 7 o'clock to go to Florida. So I jumped in here. We're going to make this all go great. Our theme for this month is vocational service. Got a slide there that you can follow along. And then along with what Ashok gets us going, we're going to take just a moment and we're going to do our big 3 deep breaths to kind of center ourselves for the day. So we'll do your 3 best. And I don't want to say namaste like Shelley's burlesque talking. She takes great yoga picture, Shelley's burlesque. All right, Hanson will come up and listen for the test. Yeah, you can do it right there, that's fine. Thank you, Hanson. And then Dave is going to be coming around. We're going to do some happy thoughts to raise some money. This is going for our 4 priorities.
So we've got lots of good things ahead and we want to be prepared to have funding from the club. John, we have things our best.
Then you're going to have to, then you're going to borrow this. Sorry.
There we go. All right, who has a happy thought for today? Sarah.
I'm happy because things keep falling into place well for the February 12th Ethics and Peace Building Day. And then that work will continue throughout the semester at John Marshall. And the John Marshall staff, from the principal to some of the teachers, have just been incredibly supportive, as well as a 3-club group. So I'm excited.
Excellent. Thank you. Terry.
I'm happy for the warmer weather that we're having. And also that Vicki and I are going to Palm Springs for 5 weeks. So,
Excellent. Other happy thoughts for today?
I'm happy to have a guest here today who will introduce to you in a second, but I'm also happy because I selfishly leaving the state of Minnesota to go to Alabama for 5 weeks and compare the weather to Palm Springs.
Well, with that in mind, and being that everybody is kind of on a plan, I'm thinking Steve, I'll be right there. Steve probably follows that.
Yes, that's true. I'm going to be also heading south to Tucson for a little bit, but I also want to uplift the fact that we have won an award. Our Rotary Club won an award from Patricia McLeese for our membership club.
I'm eternally grateful. But we finally figured out, we've had tried to give some money to a grant project up in White Bear Lake, and it got so screwed up, you can't even believe what happened. And so it's been taking weeks to get this thing straightened out, and I think we finally have, so I'm happy.
Well, unlike many of you, I am so happy that we finally got snow. I'm sad that it's warming up and it's melting and it's gonna rain. And I'm hoping we get some more snow so we have a decent winter. It's always so beautiful when it's new, fresh snow and you look out and, oh my word, it's so gorgeous.
Oh, there you go.
Hi, I'm a guest. My name is Pat Wimmer, and I'm a guest of Cynthia Dobbins today, my good friend. And I am a riser, and I'm happy to be here to hear the topic and enjoy the other club, one of the other clubs.
Thank you, Tricia. Welcome.
I'm Celeste, and I'm happy to have a guest here today, Lynn. I think this is your first time here visiting us at Rotary, so welcome. I'm also very excited about the football game this weekend. My oldest son Ryan has been a Lions fan for 20 years. Since it is a Barry Sanders, so he's excited about the game. And his son is a 49ers fan, so I don't know what's going to happen in their household.
Good luck to both of you.
I'm Suzanne, and was just in Naples, Florida, and left when it was really, really cold and came back when it warmed up. So okay about that. And there's a new guest here that walked in with me today, and you're going to get to meet him in a little bit.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay.
Andy Tildes from the Greater Rochester Rotary. It's really nice to be here with you in this wonderful space. But today I just want to salute our Town Place Suites team because they just won an award for the #1 Town Place Suites in the country amongst 800 hotels. So we're really excited about that. Thank you.
Congratulations, Andy. Anybody else? Okay, well, thank you all. And I hope you all have happy times in the coming week. Just one reminder, we have people online and we're going to try and be very sensitive to that. So if you have a comment, I'm going to keep the mic, just raise your hands and I'll rush to you, okay?
Awesome. Thanks, Dave. And safe travels to everybody that's traveling and everybody who's staying here, stay healthy. All right, Colin is going to do our reflection today.
Saw this at Christ United Methodist Church. It was at a concert there on Saturday night. It's very brief. Do all the good you can, by all the means you can, in all the ways you can, in all the places you can, at all the times you can, to all the people you can, as long as ever you can. John Wesley. So I thought that was pretty cool and certainly in the Rotary spirit. Do you want me to fix that? Kind of hold on.
Yeah.
That works. So it's not laying on the floor. Okay. And then Marilyn is going to introduce guests and Dave's got the mic for that.
Okay, well, you've met some of these folks already, but I will introduce everyone again. And we are very fortunate today to have a number of guests in our presence. So I'm going to start here with Don Meyer. Welcome, Don. Don is visiting here, but he plans to join our Rotary, he tells me. And he hails from Iowa and was actually the district governor there last year. So welcome, Don. We are really excited to have you.
Great to be here. Thank you.
I'm sure you'll get a job. So next, I'd like to introduce again Lingzhen Zhang from Mayo Clinic, and she is here today with Celeste. So welcome, Ling. So Shauna, here's Shauna. So I'd like to introduce Shauna Schleigenhaupt, who works with Thrivent, and here is she is here as a guest of Colin. Welcome, Shauna. And Caitlin. Right behind Shauna, perfect. So Caitlin Ashusta, thank you. So works with Insperity, and she is here as a guest of Tamsin's. So thank you. Great to have you. Okay, and Pat Wimmer, there she is again. So welcome, Pat.
Thank you.
So Pat is here as a gift of Cynthia. You certainly do.
I just called Carol Weigel to pick her up, and she's said no, that she's gone to a higher level of care.
Oh.
So I just wanted you all to know, I'm sure she could love a car or something.
Okay, yeah, thank you for letting us know that. So then we have visitors here from, Lenore. All right. Yay. April. I know April. I'll just follow her. So, welcome, April. So great to see you. I haven't seen you for a few years. So, April works with Family Service Rochester. So, and you're here as a Rotary Riser? Yes. Okay, perfect. We have some visiting, from other visitors from other clubs today because of our speakers. So that's great. So then Elaine Case, I know none of you have ever met Elaine before. So, but we're really glad to have her in our midst again today. And she is also with the Risers. Oh, sure.
I just want to tell Don from Iowa that you should remember, Don, as you're just coming here, you can also visit the other clubs whenever you want.
There's no competition at all between them. Okay, and Andy Tilgus was right here, so it's nice to meet you, Andy. So, and welcome, Andy is on the Greater Rochester Rotary, so the third Rotary Club here in, or one of three. I shouldn't say that, there's not an order. One of three, right? Okay. All right, I think I got through them. So we want to give a round of applause for all of our visitors.
Also, Ilya Hopkins, who is here with our speaker today, personal support system. So thank you for coming. All right. One honor I have as a past president is to present Paul Harris Fellows. These recognition pins go to our club members who have contributed to the Rotary Foundation. Paul Harris Fellow has been gifted points from existing, or they have been gifted points from existing members. Paul Harris Fellow is named for our Rotary founder, Paul Harris, who started Rotary in Chicago in 1905. Rotary established this recognition in 1957 to encourage and show appreciation for substantial contributions. From an initial fund of $26, this foundation has grown to over $1 billion today. The Paul Harris Fellow recognition acknowledges individuals who have contributed or have had contributions made in their name to the Rotary International Foundation in increments of $1,000. Multiple Paul Harris Fellow recognition is given in subsequent $1,000 levels, starting with the gold pin. I'm pleased to award Paul Harris Fellow Plus award recognition consisting of a gold pin with 4 stones each to Karen and Roman Redloffs. So mine's only got 2 stones in it, so I got a little ways to go. They're just gonna give it. Yeah, each have 4 stones. All right, thank you so much for your. Maybe I'll start wearing. Yeah. Thank you. Can I make a comment? Yes, come on up, Merlin.
Sure.
Terry, you got the phone, you want to get a picture for us? We're so used to Asha taking the photos, so, yeah. Come on up here.
I just thought I'd like to make a comment to the Rotarians that are here, many of whom I've only known for a short period of time. You'll notice we aren't here terribly regularly, partly because we aren't in the country on a regular basis, but we've had some fantastic experiences. We were in Bangkok for a number of years and were regular attenders at the Bangkok South and the Bangkok Club, which is like, this is the Rochester Club. It was in the hotel and very fine dining as we used to have at the Kaler. Even almost made a meeting in China, in Beijing, except I had the wrong day. The right place, but the wrong day. So it's been a great experience and we've met many great people throughout the world, wherever we've been. There's been great Rotarians, and I might add, Karen and I were the first couple to ever be admitted to Rotary together in Rochester anyway.
Very good. Thank you so much. They have been long-standing members of our club and just great representatives for Rotary throughout the world. All right, let's all help celebrate Rotarian birthdays and anniversaries. Oh, did I miss something? Looks like we have some new members. Sorry. So we've got new members, Vincent Brown and Stuart is Brasier. Vincent, yeah. And you have been visiting us for quite a long time. You got the mic, Dave, and we want to welcome you as an official member to our club.
I'm glad to be here. Thank you very much for having me here. I'm interested in the brand now. And I'm going to have a lot of new friends. So this is right back to this job. And I'm interested right now what all you do. I think you have foreign students. And, right now, excuse me, you were talking about the snow coming and going. We have a great thing going on in Anchorage, especially in the big cities. The snow comes and all the garbage that's blowing around falls on the ground. And then the snow comes and covers it over. Sometimes about that deep. So when it thaws, you've got all this garbage all over the place. So one of our jobs is to clean up the streets, and that's one of our jobs. So and I'm looking forward to seeing what happens here. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you. And Stuart is up here. You joined maybe the 2 weeks ago. Great. Thank you so much. All right, announcements. Or I'm sorry, we've got Rotarian birthdays and anniversaries. We've got, I can take my glasses back off. Kathy Lassard, January 25th. Ellen Hayden, January 27th. Donna Greason, January 30th. Mel Trimble, January 30th. And we have an anniversary. We've got lots of them. Cynthia Downey, 32 years. John Woodruff, 49 years. It's a contest to see how high they won. John will always win this one. Glenn Clary, 43 years. Christine Erke, 10 years. Caroline Bailey, 23. Colin Aldous, 12 years. Karen Peterson, 1 year. Mark Neville, 10 years. Lauren Lutke, 27 years. So if I read your name on either of those slides, stand up so we can all give you a round of applause. All right, now we've got some announcements. I want to thank everyone who are volunteering to create hope in our community and making peace visible in the world. We have a lot of activities going on. Make sure as you are participating and volunteering for Rotary to share any highlights via social media or get them to Lori or Kirsten. Jeremiah program Cook for Kids, March 6th. Marilyn, are you come up to make a little announcement?
Thank you. And actually, the date is Tuesday, March 5th. So the 5th, not the 6th. So we are off to start here getting people signed up. Again, this is for the Jeremiah program, Cook for Kids, which they have every Tuesday evening. A community group comes in and fixes the evening meal for the families who are there, for the moms and the kids. And this serves to help them out so that there's one night a week where they don't have to fix a meal. And it also serves to show them the community support that's behind these families and all the wonderful work that they're doing to move forward with their education and with raising their children. So the youth mentors from TRCR had the opportunity to sign up initially for this evening. And we have 5 people who have already signed up, so that's great. But we have lots of open slots available for people to sign up to bring food. There's actually only 1 slot left open to serve the meal, and I know that's the funnest thing. So just so you know, if you want that spot, you grab the sign-up sheet. So also Cynthia Dalby is kind of leading the way with the main dish. And we're going to be doing scalloped potatoes with Cynthia's recipe. So she's going to get that to me and I will get that out on the Club Runner. So the recipe is there along with the sign up. So thank you so much. And I have the sign up here, so I'll just route it today. If anybody wants to sign up today, you're welcome to. Yes, Dave.
So remind us of the time again.
It is Tuesday, March 5th. We need the food there by 4:15. And then the serving begins like at 4:30 till 6. So, yes, Colin.
The people that show up, are they allowed to eat Cynthia Darby's food?
Oh, you're saying are the helpers, are the servers able to eat? Well, I don't think that's usual. Maybe Cynthia would be willing to make a little extra for the servers.
Then I might be able to show up.
Thank you.
Thanks, Marilyn. The M&M group, we were trying to do this, but a lot of us are shirking our duties by being out of town, so we do need lots of helpers, so please sign up. To fill in for those of us who aren't bringing them. Other announcements, Ethics and Peace Building Day, Sarah talked about that a little bit. February 12th, we've got 50 high school students from John Marshall. Thank you, Sarah, for coordinating that. Call for options for the service day. So on your table, there should be a blank piece of paper, and hopefully somebody's got a pen. What we're looking for, we've been going to the library on that 3rd Thursday, that's that service day. We're going to the library. I think some people are still doing lunch, but we are looking for a new option. So if you have any ideas or know of a nonprofit that could use our help, start a piece of paper on your table and put some ideas on there, and then we'll get them to the committee to follow up on that. Yes, we're looking for more options for things for a group to do on Thursday. April is shaking her head. Yes, please volunteer. She knows the price of great ideas, so we're volunteer. Yes, I will. Go after great one. Okay, rotation day. We're not sure what that is, so we're going to come back to that because the next rotation day is scheduled at. We've got one at Alternative Learning Center the last Friday or last Thursday in February, and then in May, that last week, we are all going to Normal Rochester to hear about what's going on over there. All right, let's see, District 5960 recognized our membership for activity and growth, and there's a copy of the certificate that we received on the slideshow. You can see that. So thank you to everybody for bringing people into membership and for renewing your membership. And then we've got Share the Love Foundation is matching campaigns, more to share on February 8th. Okay, we talked about that. Any other thing that I missed for announcements? All right, we're going to go on to our program now. Well, on my list. All right, Dr. Katie Hunt is our program speaker today. She's part of the portfolio leadership team for the Bold Forward Unbound in Rochester. Dr. Katie is a professor of anesthesiology, division chair, and of the Associate Practice Chair for the Department of Anesthesiology and Perioperative Medicine at Mayo Clinic in Rochester. She completed a residency in anesthesiology at Mayo Clinic, an obstetric anesthesiology fellowship at Brigham and Women's Hospital, and a regional fellowship at Mayo Clinic. Dr. Arndt initiated and is the program director for the American College of Graduate Medical Education accredited obstetric anesthesiology fellowship program at Mayo Clinic. She is the American Board of Anesthesiology Oral Board Examiner and has served on the board of directors for the Society of Obstetric Anesthesiology and Perinatology. Her research interests include the obstetric anesthesia management of patients with complex cardiac disease, a topic on which Dr. Arndt has published over 60 peer-reviewed publications. She is invited to speak around the world and inspire safer and satisfying childbirth experiences. She also serves as a physician vice chair of the Forward and Bound in Rochester portfolio, partnering with Dr. Craig Daniels and Bridget Avicane. Please welcome Dr. Katie as she shares Forward and Bound Mayo Clinic and their 6-year initiative to transform healthcare.
Thank you, Vicki. That was very nice. I'm so honored to be here before you all. So first, I have 4 things to say before we get into actually our talk here today. The first is that I'd like to introduce Ilya Hopkins, and she's not just my emotional support person. She is actually here to help me make sure that I follow the first rule of your 4-way test. Okay, so I make sure everything that I say is true. She is a communication manager, incredibly talented, has put together all of the items that you're going to see here today for Mayo Clinic. Secondly, I'd like to share that my father was Rotarian, and I would be brought to his meetings, and my recollections, and this will tell you all how old I am, when I went, it was all men. Yes. It was. And I remember going to a meeting and seeing the first female Rotarian.
We're very happy about it.
Yeah. So here, ladies. The third thing is that I'd like to share that Dr. Patel actually, I know he's not here with us today, but he actually taught me in medical school back in 1998, my respiratory unit. And he, as a kind-hearted man, as your leader, I know you too must be just an amazing group of people here today. And finally, I have a confession to make to Don. So Don, I help people go to sleep for surgery almost every single day. And as they're falling asleep, there's something that I always say to try to help them feel more relaxed. And I always say, I'd like to give you now some nice, fresh Minnesota oxygen through this mask. Not that dirty Iowa stuff. When relaxed, I just felt I had to get that out on the table in Iowa, so that's all right. So first, I'd like to thank you guys again for this opportunity to share this information with you. We'd like to share some updates as well about this transformative strategic initiative that was just announced last year. We hope that you leave today understanding what it is, how we are transforming healthcare at Mayo Clinic for the world, and what you can expect for Rochester in the coming years. But first, the why in the voices of the most treasured part of Mayo Clinic, our staff and our patients that we serve.
There is no place like Mayo Clinic where every decision, every piece of what you do from the moment you come to work is to meet the needs of our patients, and they come first.
I wouldn't be here if they had not gone to bat for me. Mayo's team and doctors open up as many opportunities as possible for patients to get better, and that's why I'm here.
This teamwork works for everybody. Most of us live somewhere else, and yet we can get treated here by the most excellent doctors.
We can do it all. You know, Mayo can start here in a lab and, you know, create something from the ground up.
The exciting part is that the future is always uncertain, but our goal is to discover what that is and lead it for the next 10 years, 20 years, 50 years in healthcare. I'm very excited about the transformation that's coming because it gives you something else to shoot for. I am so excited to be a part of Mayo Clinic history. And I'm proud to watch Mayo Clinic make an investment that is impactful in all of our futures. Who we are is no different from who we were formed to be. What we do will change, but who we are will not change.
Describing the future of healthcare at Mayo Clinic comes down to the word hope. Hope for patients, hope for those of us who are working on these important challenges, hope for all.
Thanks, Ileana. So as we enter this historic time of change for Mayo Clinic, I'd like you to remember what Sister Tierney just said on that video. Who we are is no different from who we were formed to be. What we do will change, but who we are will not change. So transformation is rooted in Mayo Clinic history. Did you know that St. Mary's Hospital was one of the first hospitals to be built in the world that was centered around this crazy theory called germ theory, right? And that it was specifically designed to keep clean things clean and allow dirty things to be dirty, saving many, many lives. In 1928, the Plummer Building was built based upon this incredible invention called the medical record, in which patients' medical history would be written down on pieces of paper, and those papers then would travel and arrive from one physician to the next physician via a pneumatic tube system, and each physician would add to it, giving this paper trail of the patient, and that was new and incredibly innovative at the time. And so on and so forth, with our Ghana building and our Arizona, Florida, as well as La Crosse and Toledo expansions. All of these have been specific initiatives that have been tied to strategic, transformative changes in the history of Mayo Clinic. So this bold approach should feel very familiar with us, and it is always guided by our values of the needs of the patient come first. So what is bold, forward, unbound? Well, it's a funny word, isn't it? It's very vague. It is a multi-year strategic initiative. And these right here are the buildings that we call this picture, the picture that we call the hero shot of the investment. But this investment is the largest single capital investment in the history of Mayo Clinic, and actually in the state of Minnesota. It's more than new buildings in downtown Rochester. It's the transformation of healthcare from the inside out, envisioned and realized by the Mayo Clinic professionals who care for patients and their families every day. It's overall, it's part of our overall strategy to cure, connect, and transform healthcare for the world. So it's a portfolio of projects that involves 5 buildings, which you can see here. These new buildings are designed to be highly flexible and adaptable because we know we cannot predict the future, so that we can evolve our care and keep evolving it. Healthcare is evolving incredibly fast, and what we do today will be very different than what we do 5, 10, 15, and 100 years from now. So you can see 2 parking structures there. You can see buildings at the location where the Damon parking ramp is, a building, and then also where the Osmond building is, and then finally a logistics center. So to meet the mission of Mayo Clinic, we need to consistently keep ourselves ahead of the curve. We need to rethink and reimagine how we work, where we work, and what healthcare means and can be for both patients and for those who provide it. We have great talent and deep knowledge across our 3 shields, and we need to be bold about how we bring this to the patients and to help to transform healthcare everywhere. So our investment is happening in downtown Rochester. And investing in our downtown is going to allow us to use that talent and that incredible knowledge to affect the entire world. One of those concepts that we're investing in is this idea of patients having sort of fractured and disrupted care by an inpatient versus an outpatient experience. So oftentimes you're sick enough to be in the hospital, and then you're well enough to go see your primary care provider or another provider outside the hospital. Our goal is to fuse those two concepts together so that it's just for a patient-only experience is a single episode of care, all provided by the Mayo Clinic. So as we do this, I think it's really, really important that you recognize how we're going about many of these transformations. And the most important concept about how we're designing it is the concept of human-centered design. How many people have heard of human-centered design? How many people have not? So I want to think about when you use an application that seems to predict what you need next on your phone. That was designed in a way that understands what you want in the moment that you want it. And it's specifically designed for your experience to be seamless and amazing and intuitive. That's human-centered design, and that's what we're doing. How many people have experienced an app or tried to get through, I don't know, I was just trying to fill out a FAFSA application for my daughter. Oh my God, that is not human-centered, okay? Your taxes are not human-centered. That's an example of non-human-centered design, and you can really feel the difference, right? And so we are really designing with that human-centered design process. And what we need in order to do that well is the input and the involvement of all the stakeholders. And that includes you. So let's talk about who those stakeholders are. So here you can see that we have an engagement ecosystem that we have used in order from very early in this process. That includes our employees, both the ones in Mayo Clinic and outside Mayo Clinic employees that don't necessarily live in Rochester, the executive offices and all of the Mayo Clinic governing bodies like the Board of Governors and the Board of Trustees. Finally, our destination patients that live elsewhere, as well as our patients within our communities. Our public officials, the local, state, federal, and all of the different policy influencers have been involved. Our Rochester community, our business leaders and local community influencers, you. And finally, our local patients and caregivers with Mayo Clinic health systems in and near Rochester. So these are all of the different areas. So this is why we're here with you today for this exchange of information. So this is a view of the buildings. They will be beautiful. This is looking out, so on the left is St. John's, and on the right would be where the Osmond building is now. What we want to talk about is not just that these are going to be built to be very purposeful, they're also going to be built to be beautiful. But transformation requires more than physical space. And we, again, in that transformation of healthcare, we have strategically designed this investment in Mayo Clinic to achieve specific outcomes. So what are these outcomes that we're looking for from healthcare? So number one, this idea that I've already talked to you about, that continuous care model. Number two, this idea of art of hosting. So as people arrive and so on at Mayo Clinic, we are hosting them in the city of Rochester. We're embracing them as they're sick and vulnerable. And we are treating them like we would treat a patient, a person that arrives to our home for a meal. Third, ambient intelligence, this idea of using technology in order to help us be able to focus on our patients. And we'll talk a little bit more about that, such that the room itself, the building itself, the technology in the background is actually an active part of our care team. And finally, predictive resources. So this idea of automation and various other technologies, just like what Amazon and other corporations use in order to quickly and effectively and predictably provide us with the things we need when we need them while we're caring for patients. So let's start a little bit with this idea of the art of hosting. So the art of hosting is really going to begin as patients arrive at our front door and before that point as well. It should be a personalized and seamless experience for patients. It needs to be very human-centered as we designed it, putting the needs of our patients first, so that our staff and our community and our patients are all knitted together and we're able to really, really support patients in ways no other community can. We want to do this in a way that is unprecedented, that the care feels to patients both innovative, but also deeply, deeply human. This here is a picture of an arrival experience, which you could see on the left would be behind, you can see St. John's, the Co-Cathedral of St. John's. And then on your left would be the Episcopal Church, and then you would be arriving here. And you can see that we have volunteers and other people all helping and assisting as patients experience this arrival into quite a big building. So it really needs to be grounded in this idea of relationships and human-to-human interactions. So here's a picture of Rochester. Just kidding, down in Iowa. No, it's Manhattan. All right, so I want to emphasize that we're building 1.8 million square feet of space, okay? I'll say that again, 1.8 million square feet of space. That feels overwhelming, doesn't it? Does to me, I know. It probably feels to patients a little bit like how this would feel. This feels to me as I look at it, coming from a small town in northern Michigan and living my life in Rochester, Minnesota. The people that live in Manhattan, they don't live in all of Manhattan, right? They live within a neighborhood. And so what we're doing here is looking at this significant, this big, ginormous investment, these big structures, and really looking at them on that human level scale, that idea of what each staff member and moreover what each patient will actually interact with. So we're creating these neighborhoods within that space in order to take care of people. We're calling those our care neighborhoods, and things will be that people need will be in close proximity and really will provide that unprecedented level of care. So this here is that sort of picture that makes you think of Manhattan as you're looking at it. And this is the current design for what we will be building on the Damon site and the Osmond site. But these principles of adjacency and access are going to be able to take collaboration to our next level by building in this neighborhood way. Because Mayo Clinic, if nothing else, is rooted in collaboration. It is not just one physician being great. It is a group of physicians. I work seamlessly with perinatologists, neonatologists, cardiologists, surgeons. We're just constantly interacting in these sort of collaborative care in order to focus on patients with serious and complex disease. And so this idea of both adjacency of what we're near, as well as access for the ability of care teams to access all the expertise, as well as things or medical stuff that they need, is going to all be designed into this project. So this is a picture of the Sky Bridge that would connect from the Damon site here over to the wave wall, which is between the Gonda building and the Mayo building. And I think it's important as we look at this to think about where we are today and how we get to where we want to be. So as I think about this, I want you to think about a provider sitting with you at a computer, looking at that computer and typing back and forth with you, instead of just looking at you, focusing on you and that provider having a conversation, and then no computer is even in the room. The room is picking up the conversation and literally creating the note for that physician so that then they can walk out. So this idea of that computer interface is going to be gone. More human to human. There's of course some work that still needs to be done here, but these are our dreams. This idea potentially of the potentially confusing and frantic arrival to the Ghana building. Have you guys had that where you pull in and it's like there's a guy standing there on one side he's saying, move it, move your car. And then on the other side, welcome to Mayo Clinic, right? And so we want that to be gone, and we want instead this coordinated, personalized, seamless movement where you can experience. And if say you're sensory sensitive or your child is sensory sensitive, that they could even experience that arrival, by VR or AR, virtual reality, where they can then come in and already feel comfortable and at home before they even arrive. Imagine all sorts of different possibilities here. And I won't go on, but we can talk more about this during the Q&A. We want to continue to imagine what's possible in big and bold ways so that patients can get better cared for, unlike any place else in the world. All right, so enough dreaming. When is this gonna happen? What are we actually doing here? So here's the timeline, guys, and talk about bold. We estimate 6 years for this construction. So there's going to be a lot of change happening in Rochester quickly. We're planning a thoughtful and thorough sequence, and we are committed to minimizing potential disruptions for patients, staff, and the community as this construction progresses. But it will be a lot, okay? So here, I just want you to take a moment so that you can see the first thing that we will be doing, instead of patients arriving on the west side of Ganda, we will be creating the whole east side of that block of Ganda will become the new arrival area. So instead of just that small one roundabout, the roads will maybe. Okay, let me rephrase that. See, this is why Ilya's here. We are hoping that the roads will be able to allow for patients to arrive all along that east side of Uganda. Thank you, Ilya. Rule number 1. Secondly, we need to build a new parking ramp because we're taking down the Damon parking ramp. So that's going to be a parking ramp built to the north. And then finally, that the Damon site will be built up. And then finally, the Osmond site building will be built up. And then further, a West Logistics Center, and then another parking ramp. And so you can see all of those dates with the idea that these should be done by 2030. Okay. So patients, transformative experience, patient-centered neighborhoods, curated arrival and departure, social amenities, personalized service, staff, closer collaboration with colleagues, integrated 3 shields care, and investment in emergent technologies, reduced administrative burdens, being able to be closer to the patients they care for, and community, a firm commitment from Mayo Clinic to the Destination Medical Center, public-private investment, coordination with the city of Rochester, and significant economic impact. In fact, the economic impact of direct, indirect, and induced design and construction spending, this is not what Mayo is actually spending, but what will be coming into the community as a result of this spending. Between now and 2030, economists estimate that will generate over $7 billion coming into our community. It will create the equivalent of approximately 6,000 full-time jobs each year. It's a lot of change. It's really exciting, and it can feel at times overwhelming. So, in conclusion, as you hear about these change, I want you to think about what this will mean for patients that are sick throughout the world, about how we, as a Rochester community, are a beacon of hope and healing for the world. How those who are sick that can find answers no other place can come here and be cared for by all of us. Thank you very much. We have one more, we have another video that we just want to leave you with.
This with you.
If that's okay, and then we'll ask questions and answer questions if that sounds good. And I'm sure there'll be plenty of questions, and that's good. We're ready.
For 160 years, Mayo Clinic has led the world in healthcare innovation. Our next evolution seeks to redefine what's possible, creating a brighter future for our patients. We are solving medicine's most challenging problems. We are shaping the next generation of discovery, serving as a beacon for hope and healing to those in need. Not only meeting patient needs, but anticipating them. Not only curing disease, but intercepting it. Not only providing data-driven, pioneering treatments, but doing so with humanity and compassion. To transform healthcare, we are reinventing environments where we collaborate, innovate, and adapt to the needs of our patients. We are reimagining every aspect of our physical healthcare infrastructure, creating flexible, intuitive, and patient-centered design, where integrated spaces foster greater teamwork, connection, and joy for our staff, strengthening the bonds of the entire Mayo Clinic community, the people who have and who will always make Mayo Clinic unique. Bold, forward, unbound in Rochester is our next step in this vital transformation. Together with our leading international design partners, we are expanding our Rochester campus to make this radical new vision a reality, where virtual, inpatient, and outpatient care blend seamlessly to support a patient's journey, where warm and welcoming care neighborhoods inspire hope for our patients in the best possible environment for health and healing. This is our vision for Mayo Clinic in Rochester, for our patients, and for patients throughout the world. This is our future. This is our legacy.
Thank you very much. I'm a RN at Mayo, and I really didn't know much about this, so you're helping me reach my goal for my annual assessment. So I'm gonna write that one up. My question is, how will this all impact, like the Baldwin building, the local care, the Northwest Clinic? How will this all, I think it's fabulous, unbelievable, wonderful. But what will the impact be on local care?
So wonderful. So first of all, I like to differentiate between local care and destination care.
Well, primary care.
And primary care and care for the serious and complex disease, right? So first of all, for local care, for patients that have serious and complex disease, this investment for those local patients is for them. Okay. However, for primary care, this investment, primary care will not be taking place necessarily in the new construction. Does that kind of, so the primary care services that we provide will continue obviously to be excellent and amazing. They won't take place in these newer buildings. They will remain within the Baldwin building, the Northwest Clinic, the Northeast Clinic, and as of course, as you can imagine, there will probably need to be, as Mayo Clinic expands or as we continue to grow at our 2% per year, which we typically do, as well as we bring in additional workers into the community and so on, for the construction, that there will be a need for expansion of primary care within that, but it won't be in these new spaces. Does that help?
That's what I figured.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm wondering if you can share a little bit about, in the design around, what you're doing around energy use and being as green as possible.
Oh, fantastic. So you're going to see some green roofs here. Those are incredibly expensive. We're working through that. We're also working through, how much can I say on energy, Ilya? We're really working hard on our energy stuff. We don't have that quite finalized yet. Let me just say that there had previously been another building that was a utility plant, but there were other types of energy forms that don't require utility plants that may rhyme with geothermal that I'm not allowed to say yet because they're not formalized, but we're working really hard to try to do that. Ilya's giving me the nod. I'm still following rule number 1. So there's a couple things that need to make sure that all of that all that can come through. I don't want to tell you anything that's not true. But we're thinking that that's probably going to be our energy source. We have a lot of energy redundancies actually in downtown Rochester. I think we're triple redundant energy sources down there. So if one thing goes down, another thing, we have other forms of energy that's able to come down so that the hospitals stay running. And that is something I'm really excited about when we're able to announce that and kind of finalize all those plans and what that looks like. One thing to know though, is that we have a significant number of MRIs and operating rooms that will be in these spaces. They consume an incredible amount of energy. And with all of that, it would almost be impossible to be kind of a net zero type of a constructor just because of the incredible amount that of energy that imaging requires. So you may be able to get close, but it is an incredible energy consumption source of building. And the way that we design everything, so you'll notice that is working to minimize that and bring that down as far as we possibly can. I'm hopeful that we would get to some really amazing goals that we can announce, but we got to make sure before we would say anything that we can actually really do it. So you'll notice these buildings are south facing, allowing for a lot of light to come in. You'll also notice that there were other ideas very early on where we thought about, do you go out to a green field around Rochester and just rebuild everything? No, we're staying close to where our investment property is and where Rochester's invested, resulting in making sure that we're using the current structures and stuff that we have. I won't say anything more there for now, but there's lots of exciting stuff in that space. Absolutely, absolutely. A lot of windows. We have to think about when we're thinking right now, there's some stuff about birds, making sure that they stay safe. No, seriously, I mean, I don't know, it sounds hilarious, but I mean, there's so many aspects to this that we're still quite early. A lot of this stuff, the hole will start to be dug while all of this is still getting worked on in order to create this efficient process of construction. So thank you for the amazing question. Yeah.
Hi, thank you for the enlightenment of your goals, ambitions, and I wish you much success. The question I have is maybe multidimensional. One is, in order to achieve the growth that you're talking about, you're in an area which is probably declining in population, so you're going to be appealing to the world. We spent a lot of time in South Asia, South China, and other areas. We have worked with people who have never seen a snowflake. You realize we've had several days below zero. What thoughts have you given to attracting to people from the rest of the world that have never seen a snowflake, but they want to come to Rochester, Minnesota?
Sure. So first of all, I also want to note that you'll see that the 2-level sky bridge that you see, we're going to work to kind of pull out of the subway level and bring things over the years as we construct up into the light. We think that light is really, really important in Rochester, Minnesota, and there is much beauty in our climate, as you saw from that picture with the snow and so on. As far as Minnesota being Minnesota, not much we can do about that, right? It results in incredibly hardy and friendly people that I think I take great pride in being amongst. There will be what they call, I think it's called biophilia, kind of this idea that the architects are bringing. You'll look at these little indents that Ilya can kind of point out here in the building. As we look at the care neighborhoods, they'll kind of be built around these sort of indents, and we'll call those winter gardens, bringing nature sort of inside, if that makes sense, so that it doesn't feel cold and isolated as people come here sick, but instead it feels vibrant and alive and close to nature with lots of natural light and beauty. Just, yeah.
The real challenge that I think I see though is how did they get here?
Yes.
Coming into the Minneapolis-St. Paul Airport.
Yes.
We had talked about a SkyTrain at one point in time. There's still a significant challenge of how people actually do get here. They don't have fur coats and the kinds of things that we take for granted. And with a huge population that you would like to attract, how do you get them here? Have you thought about that?
So this investment does not involve an investment in the train that would go between. And it has looked very closely on traffic patterns around downtown Rochester. As well as Mayo Clinic continues to invest and is committed to the airport in Rochester. What else can we say about this, Ilya, the answer to that is, we hear you, that is probably, that we hear that concern. People will drive or they will fly or they will ride a bus, right? In order to get here. Maybe someday they'll be able to take a hovercraft or a train down from the Twin Cities. Yeah.
Vicky, do we have time for one last question, or are you set?
We're set, we're good.
Okay.
We can see if they can stick around and answer a question or two.
Yes, 100%.
All right, so I want to thank Dr. Katie and Ilya. You had a really important job. I couldn't do it for this great information. With gratitude for your presentation, a donation of money to the Alzheimer's Association, which is our charity of choice for 2024. Thank you very much. Let's give a big round of applause. But if you want to continue the family legacy and enjoy Rotary, we'd be happy. Colin put some cards on the table that he's clearing some stuff out with. Go ahead and help yourself with taking your card. I think it's Rotary Forward Festival, some other things. I want to thank everybody for coming today for our meeting. I want to thank our volunteers, Terry for greeting, John for our cashier, Sergeant at Arms, Campson for helping us with the test, Colin for doing our reflection, Marilyn for introduction of guests, Kirsten for our AV and tech support, and Ashok for helping line up the program. We adjourn with the Rotary theme of create hope in the world and make peace visible. We are adjourned. Thank you.